Coming up on 5 Minute News. Trump encourages supporters to vote twice. White House faces skepticism over pre-election vaccine. And police officers in Rochester suspended after asphyxiating black man. It's Friday, September 4. I'm Anthony Davis. Donald Trump said yesterday that people who vote early by mail should show up at their local polling places on Election Day and vote again if their ballots haven't been counted, a suggestion that experts say would lead to chaos, long lines, and more work for election officials during a public health crisis. Additionally, in a series of tweets, Trump encouraged voters to go to their polling site to see whether or not your mail-in vote has been tabulated. If it has, you will not be able to vote, and the mail-in system worked properly. But information on whether a ballot has been counted is typically not available right away. In several states, absentee ballots aren't even counted until after polls close. What can be checked is whether an absentee ballot has been received, and in some cases whether it has passed a security review and will be submitted for counting. Election officials warned that a flood of voters showing up on November 3rd to check the status of their ballots would mean even more disruption during the coronavirus outbreak and lengthy waits. Critics say Trump's desire to cause chaos at polling places is part of an intentional campaign of misinformation about voting, designed to support his likely rejection of the election result if he loses. If he wins, however, it also opens up his victory to litigation. The remarks drew widespread alarm from various officials and voting rights groups, saying that if voters were somehow able to cast a second ballot, they could face prosecution for voting twice. Let me be perfectly clear, voting twice is illegal no matter who tells you to do it. The president's idea is a great one for people looking to go to jail, said Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. In a TV interview, Attorney General William Barr, when questioned about Donald Trump's tweets, refused to say whether voting twice was illegal, claiming he didn't know. A letter from federal health officials instructing U.S. states to be ready to begin distributing a vaccine by November 1st, 2 days before the election, has been met not with exhilaration, but with suspicion among some public health experts who wonder whether the Trump administration is hyping the possibility or intends to rush approval for political gain. The skepticism comes amid growing questions about the scientific credibility of the Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and their vulnerability to political pressure from Donald Trump. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the government's top infectious disease expert and a member of Trump's coronavirus task force, said that it is unlikely, but not impossible, that a vaccine could win approval in October instead of November or December, as many experts believe. The concerns were set off by a letter dated August 27, in which CDC Director Robert Redfield asked the nation's governors to help a government contractor set up vaccine distribution facilities so that they are up and running by November 1st. Redfield did not say a vaccine would be ready by then. Still, to some public health experts, the timing of the letter smacked of a political stunt by a president facing a tough re-election. I think it's almost a certainty, said Ashish Jha, Dean of the Brown University School of Public Health. He said November feels awfully early. Jha noted the FDA's recent move to approve emergency use of convalescent plasma against COVID-19 following threats and complaints from Trump about the slow pace of the agency's review. Last week, FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn was forced to correct himself after overstating the life-saving benefits of the plasma treatment. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer questioned the Trump administration's motives. Too much of the evidence points to the Trump administration pressuring the FDA to approve a vaccine by Election Day to boost the president's re-election campaign, he said in a statement. This raises serious safety concerns about politics, not science and public health, driving the decision-making process. Police officers involved in the arrest and asphyxiation death of Daniel Prude, a black man, have been suspended after video of the March incident was released this week, the mayor of Rochester, New York, said on Thursday. Prude's family released on Wednesday body camera footage from his arrest in March, showing a group of officers in the upstate New York City putting a hood over his head, apparently to prevent his spit from possibly transmitting the novel coronavirus, as he knelt on the ground, handcuffed and naked. Prude's family has called for the arrest of the officers involved in his death, which came 7 days after the incident. Prude was 41. The Monroe County medical examiner ruled Prude's death a homicide caused by complications of asphyxia in the setting of physical restraint, according to an autopsy report. Mr. Daniel Prude was failed by our police department, our mental health care system, our society, and he was failed by me, Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren told reporters. We cannot continue to fail black lives in this way. Prude's asphyxiation occurred 2 months before the death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police, which spurred international protests against police brutality and racial injustice in the United States. You can subscribe to 5-Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5-Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Please subscribe, rate and review us at 5minute.news. 5-Minute News is an independent production covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering unbiased, verified and truthful world news daily.